Chelsea are back in Europe and kick-off proceeding against Gent. Not to be mistaken with Genk, a side that we have played twice before back in our Champions League winning campaign back in 2012. Our opponents, Gent, however, we have never played before. Both sides come into this fixture well and truly now into their respective leagues, with Chelsea having played 6 and Gent having played 9. Both sides appear to be doing well so far, despite both sides finishing 6th and 7th, respectively, at the end of the last. Gent sitting 3rd, as of right now, 6 points off of league leaders Genk, funnily enough, and level with 2nd place Royal Antwerp. Chelsea, on the other hand, as we all well and truly know, sit 4th in the Premier League, just 2 points off of top spots. Heading into this fixture, both sides will be feeling confident. Gent have lost just 2 of the last 11 away from home in all competitions. Chelsea, on the other hand, have lost just 1 of their last 11 at home in all competitions, that being our 2-0 defeat to Manchester City on the opening day. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, please do like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, it's send o'clock. Team news is going to be the focus of the video today, now that we've got proceedings well and truly out the way. And it's going to be a tricky one. Do we stick with the full 11? Probably not. It's unlikely. Are we going to go and swap the full 11? Again, I don't think it's possible to... I mean, it's possible, but is it necessary? Again, team news, and all seems well, despite the obvious, despite the elephant in the room being Reece James, who is still absent. However, on Instagram or whatever it was, he was posting that he's going to see us soon, and you know, I'm not being a hater or anything like that. I'm happy. I'll be happy to see him back, that's for sure. But it comes to a point where you absolutely, and I am absolutely excited beyond belief to see him potentially come back, and this could be the time when he's fully fit and ready to kick the ball. just do that at least, please. I'm begging you. But my expectations, not so much for his quality, that's never an issue, but for the longevity, for the expectations being what we are to be on the receiving end of. Visual, like just watching him play. Is anyone 100% confident that we're going to see him for longer than a few games before? Touch fucking wood. I pray, I really do pray that this is going to be the time that it all comes together. But you know, this was meant to be a shorter period. It's now ended up being a longer period, you know, a longer period of absence than we were first told. And again, we've been through this before. It just gets to a point where you're just like, oh, and we're doing well as it is. You know, Gusto is doing all right. He's not quite the player he was last season, but that's, you know, he's still very, very good. Has he well and truly taken that Reece James position? I don't think so. Of course, obviously Reece James is the captain, so that obviously plays a massive part as well. This doesn't need to be about Reece James, but with him still being the only player absent, I feel like there is, again, more that needs to be spoken about. I have done a video on Reece James recently already, so give that a watch. But again, besides that, everyone else is fit. However, a reminder that some players are not eligible, such as Ben Chilwell, of which Maresca stated in today's press conference that he does not regret leaving him out of our European squad. Whether or not he needs to say that or not, I don't know. I don't think there's anything that needs to be read into that. He can't change it now. You know, he's already said that he's more than likely going to stay with the club now for not the long term, but definitely not going anytime soon. So, you know, we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. With that said, here is how I see us setting up. We've got the screen ready to go. And, of course, in goal, I do think not only because there is competition to be had, but I do think that based off of his performance against Brighton, it kind of lends to itself that Jorgensen should start, just to see where we are at with him as well, because Lord knows Sanchez has his pros, but his cons are just so big. His cons are just so big that it's always a necessary thing to do. Is any chance you get, play the second goalkeeper to see where he's at, just to make sure we're just in case Sanchez turns to absolute poo. There's a good backup. As we mentioned, Reece James is out. I don't think we're going to see Joshua Achiampong play at right back from the start. Anyway, we might see him come on at some point, but much like against Barrow, I don't think he's going to start. I think Malo Gusto, again, I don't think this is going to be a game like Barrow where we're going to be resting. I do feel like I've gone with a completely different 11 to what we last played against Brighton. But at the same time, I don't think we're going to be playing academy players necessarily. So we'll see how it goes. Tosin, I think, because it's a weird one, because we did see Disasi and Badiashile play together. And it was actually half decent. It wasn't great, but it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't terrible, sorry, should I say. But I do think Tosin needs more game time. I do think this is going to be one of the tournaments that he plays in quite a lot, at least in the beginning stages. Badiashile as well, I reckon he needs to get more game time. I just don't see a world in which Levi Colwill and Wesley Fofana, especially with the fixtures that we've got coming up. I did a video on that yesterday about how Chelsea could potentially win the Premier League if, of course, we get through our next few games against Forest on the weekend, and then after the break we've got Liverpool, we've got Manchester United, we've got Newcastle, and then we've got Arsenal. It needs to be that everyone is tip-top Magoo, ready to go. And so for that, in games like this, where it's right at the beginning, I don't see Fofana or Colwill starting. And if they do, then I hope Maresca understands the risks. Up next, we've got at left back. I was going to go with Cucurella, but much like what I've just said about Colwill and Fofana, I think from what we've seen from Vega, we can very much trust him. And so for that, in the inverted role, doing all this sort of bollocks, and you know, I'm more than happy to see him do that. And so for that, that's my back four. Moving forward now, and I do think we're going to see two players in particular that we haven't seen too much of. One more so than the other, but one also because he just hasn't been playing very well. I was going to say Kevin De Bruyne. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Not quite Kevin De Bruyne. KDH, not to be mistaken with KDB, is more than likely going to start in this game, I believe, purely because, again, much from what I was saying earlier, we can't risk the likes of Enzo, the likes of Caicedo in a game like this, and it's a good run out for the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, honestly. Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Alongside him, a recent return to full fitness, and then we did see him play a couple of minutes against Brighton the other day. Romeo Lavia, I think, will start alongside him. All of these players are eligible. Is Lavia eligible? I might have to make a change here. Romeo Lavia is not eligible. So you'll have to excuse me there. Romeo Lavia is not eligible, and so for that, I think we're going to see Caicedo. I don't think we'll see Cassidy again, but then you never know. You never know. This has completely turned it on its head. Because I am looking at the squad here, the squad list, that's defenders, midfielders, and yeah, Romeo Lavia is not eligible to play in the Conference League. So I am going to go still with what I was saying. Caicedo not playing from the start. I think we're going to go with Cassidy again. He did well against Barrow. I think he could be trusted once again. He is eligible. We've just checked. Cassidy is eligible. So moving forward, the next players that I'm putting in, I think they all are. Oh, no. He is. He is. Thank God for that. I had to make sure. First off, we've got Neto. Neto was not the player I was worried about not starting. It is our front man who is going to be Christopher Nkunku. They've got him down as a midfielder on the list of players, so he wasn't on the forwards list. Neto, again, fighting for that right-hand side role over Madueke, which I think is more or less going to be a done deal for him at some point. But, you know, Neto is vying for that position. I think Madueke's performances they're not deteriorating. They're not getting bad, but it's making it easier for Maresca to justify putting someone else in that position. I think Nkunku up top purely because of the back and forth competitions, cup competitions for Nkunku. And of course, Premier League security for Jackson as of right now. But that could change, of course, as we all know. Playing behind him, I've got Joao Felix. It doesn't need to be said anything other than we're not playing Cole Palmer, so we might as well play Joao Felix. And on the left, to finish things off, I'm giving him another chance. Why not? Mikhailo Mudryk on the left-hand side. It's boring at this point. It really is. But it is what it is. We're just going to have to lump it, keep playing him, see what could happen, and hope for the best. You know what I mean? So there we go. Jorgensen, Gusto, Tosin, Badiashile and Vega with Cassidy and Kiernan Dewsbury Hall. Joao Felix in front of them. Neto and Mudryk on the wings. And Christopher Nkunku up top. With that said, let me know your predictions. My predictions, before you go, I did forget, I didn't actually put in a prediction for this. If we're looking at their recent games, you know, they've lost their most recent game away from home against Bruges. I don't think that is actually Bruges. It's not actual Bruges, the one that everyone's thinking of. They did win their last game against Leuven 3-0, but that was at home. And again, they beat Club Bruges away from home 4-2, lost to Cercle Bruges 2-1, but then also lost at home to Sporting Charleroi. Who the fuck knows at this point? Does anyone actually know? I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Chelsea. I think it's going to be a decent result. I think it might be a little shaky at points, being back in Europe for the first time in a while. But I do think it will be a convincing win nonetheless. With that said, please let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions down in the comments down below. What's your starting 11 for this game? Do you think I missed anyone out? Did I make a boo-boo? Did I make a mistake? Please like the video, subscribe, hit the bell notification to be notified of any future content on the channel. My name is Harry, up the Chelsea. We're so close. We're getting closer. We're not that close, but we're getting closer to 10,000 subscribers. My name is Harry, up the Chelsea, and peace.